Hi guys, my name's Chloe and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is going to be my first video and I wanted my YouTube channel to be loosely based around books. I am a university student, so there might be some like university content as well, and I am training to be a teacher, so might even get some teacher content. We'll see where it goes, but at the minute we're just going to look at some book content, and that is going to be like my sole focus for this YouTube channel. I'm going to do a book tag just so we can get to know me. And I've got 10 questions. If you keep seeing me look down here, my questions are on my laptop, just so I don't bother on about nothing. So the first question I have is, what is my favourite genre? And this is quite an easy question for me because I know what I like. So I read a lot of romance. I love romantasy as well, so fantasy romances. Anything with romance in it, love it. Dark romance, cowboy romance, all the different tropes, enemies to lovers, friends to lovers, second chance, anything with romance. I am trying to read more fantasy books that don't have romance aspects. Not quite got there yet. My next question is places that I go to buy my books. The three places I buy most of my books for are Waterstones, The Works, because we all love a 3 for £6 deal, and Amazon. I usually pre-order my books on Amazon. If I go book shopping, I usually go to Waterstones and The Works. I am trying to find some nice little independent bookstores around where I live, but there isn't many at all that like grasp my attention. There's some like second-hand bookshops and stuff like that. I do love looking in charity shops. I found a couple of books in charity shops, but because I'm so into looking after the condition of my books, sometimes charity shops aren't the best place for that. How many books do I own? So I made a spreadsheet about a year ago and I've just been updating it whenever I buy books. I have 315 books. I have 46 books on my Kindle, so I don't own physical copies of them. I have 254 physical books, and then I have 15 books that I have in both physical and Kindle form. Most of them are fantasy because I like to read fantasy on my Kindle because I just feel like they go quicker. So I have a lot of books, and I can probably say about 75% of them have been unread, which is quite concerning. On to the questions that are about books I have read. I have a pile of books here that I'm going to talk about that answer the questions that are on my list. So the first book I'm going to talk about is the book that I just finished reading, and it is Heartless by Marissa Myers. This is a romance fantasy book and it is based on the characters from Alice in Wonderland. This book specifically is based on the Queen of Hearts and how and why she became the Queen of Hearts. I really enjoyed this book. I give it 3.5 stars, and I would recommend to anyone that's trying to get into fantasy because it's very quick and easy to read. I really enjoyed that. My next question is a book that I would recommend everyone to read. It's Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 stars. It is an accidental pregnancy trope, which I know I've seen a lot of controversy about, but I loved this book. The characters, the storyline, everything about it, 5 stars, 5 stars. 100% recommend, but please check the trigger warnings first. My next question is a book that I soft DNF'd. A soft DNF is where I stop reading a book with the intentions to pick it back up again at some point. And I picked A Little Lie for this because this book is very hard hitting. It is very hard to read. It's not a quick, easy read. It's emotionally hard to read. And yeah. I was really struggling to get into it, but I've been told by so many people that it's such a good book. So I think when I'm going to get this on Audible and sit down and read it properly, because I want to be able to like fully immerse myself in this book. I've even got my annotating tabs in the front so that I can annotate it when I'm ready to come back to it and read it properly. The next question on my list is, which book do I wish I could read for the first time again? And I chose The Storied Life of A.J. Thackeray. I really enjoyed this book. I've only read it this year. Sorry. And there's some parts of this book that I've highlighted because it was just so amazing. I really enjoyed this book. I recommend this to everyone. So much happens in this little book. It's a romance, it's general fiction. In fact, I'd say it's more general fiction than romance, but there is an element of romance in this. And it's by Gabrielle Zevin, who also wrote Tomorrow, and Tomorrow, which I haven't read, but is on my TBR. It's somewhere in this array of books behind me. The next question on my list is, what book got me back into reading? So 3 years ago, I went to Tesco and I seen this book on the shelf and I thought, oh my god, I love that cover. I read the blurb. Oh, this sounds interesting. Really like the idea of this book. Picked it up, put it on my shelf. At the time, I just had one tiny little floating shelf in my bedroom. And I didn't think about it for about 3 or 4 months. And then I seen it all over TikTok. And I was like, I need to read this book. I need to know what people are after. I wasn't on BookTok at the time because I wasn't reading. So in September of 2022, nearly 2 years ago, I picked up this book and it changed my life. I really enjoyed reading this book. The friendship between Lily and Alessa was impeccable. Just everyone needs a friend like her. They really do. I will say check the trigger warnings if you haven't already heard about this book, like most people have. I do recommend this book, and I know there's a lot of controversy around Colleen Hoover, but it's not going to make me change my mind on this book because I think it just holds a special place in my heart. The next question I have is the least favourite book I've read this year so far. I don't have a physical copy of this book, and that's because I unhauled it because I really didn't enjoy it. I rated it 2.5 stars. I got about 80% through, and I know people would be like, why didn't you finish it? I just couldn't. I tried so hard to finish that book and it just never happened. And it is Ghosted by Emily Barr. The premise of the book was really good, so I feel like the storyline could have been really, really good. I just didn't enjoy the way the book was written. I do recommend Emily Barr's The One with Maria Flora Banks because that was a really good book and I think you would really enjoy it. And the last question is, what is my favourite book? And I couldn't pick one because it's part of a series. You can probably see behind me that these 2 books are missing from my Boys of Tommen series behind. I read this one in July, and I don't normally read 2 books in the series back to back, but I had to because when this book finished, I wanted more. So the first 2 are on Johnny and Shannon. The second 2 are on Joey and Aoife, I think it was pronounced. It does give you, it's set in Ireland, but it gives you like the pronunciations and the meaning of things in the book. There is a pronunciation page and a glossary, so that's perfect. And then book 5 is based on Gibbsy and Claire. Claire is Shannon's best friend and Gibbsy is Johnny's best friend. Gibbsy is absolutely hilarious. If it wasn't for Gibbsy, I think these books probably would have been the hardest reads I've ever read. Don't get me wrong, they are hard. Check the trigger warnings, but 100% recommend to everyone. So that is all the questions I have. I will do another Q&A eventually if that's what people want to see, but if you have any ideas of videos that I can film, let me know down below. And like this video if you want to see more, subscribe if you want to, not forcing anyone to do anything, but it would mean a lot. And yeah, let me know your favourite books and any book recommendations that you have that you think I might enjoy. Thank you, bye.